Karen Carpenter was a famous singer in the early 70s with hits like Close to You, We've Only Just Begun, and many more. Her voice is arguably one of the top voices of all time. She died from complications of anorexia nervosa at the tender age of 32. We are here today with Randy Schmidt, author of Little Girl Blue, a best-selling novel about the life of Karen Carpenter, and the writer-producer of the documentary Karen Carpenter, Starving for Perfection, that is showing at this year's Dallas International Film Festival. Also joining us is the film's director from Dallas-based AMS Pictures, Randy Martin. Well, hi, Randys. How are you?
Hello, doing great.
Okay, the first question is for you, Randy Schmidt. I'm going to refer to you as Randy too. Tell us why you decided to do the story about Karen Carpenter. You wrote a book and now you're involved with this documentary. What was behind the passion?
When I was a 13-year-old kid, I watched the TV movie The Karen Carpenter Story on CBS, and I fell in love with Karen's music and her life story all in those 2 hours or so. And I was immediately in our local library doing research, never with the intention of a book or, of course, a documentary or any of those things, but just for my own curiosity. And over the years after that, I sort of became the internet Carpenter's guru and brought a lot of Carpenter's fans together from all around the world. And it was with their encouragement that I started doing a lot of interviews and continued research that all came together for this book in 2010, Little Girl Blue, The Life of Karen Carpenter.
And then how did the movie come about with AMS, Randy Martin, Randy 1?
Yeah, so our executive producer, Andy Streitfeld, and Randy Schmidt connected. And then fortunately for me, I got pulled into the brigade there to start working on this together. But really it was, how do we take Randy's fabulous book and make a documentary version for people to watch today and be, some people to be reacquainted with Karen and some people be introduced to her and her fabulous music.
And you did many wonderful interviews with stars that really had a passion for her. You interviewed Carol Burnett, Olivia Newton-John, Suzanne Summers. Can you tell us a little more about that story?
We were very fortunate to get the talent we did get. And I think it speaks to the passion they have for Karen. Now, when we did the interviews, it was right when COVID was bubbling up. So we actually had a few more people who really wanted to do it, and it just logistically became a challenge. But with Carol, we interviewed her, and she's obviously a big fan of Karen. And, she got fairly emotional. I mean, they had some moments together on her variety show, which you will see in the documentary. Olivia Newton-John, the challenge there was she was in Australia, and literally we were one of the last people to interview Olivia Newton-John. Olivia was great friends with Karen. In fact, they were scheduled to meet for lunch the day of Karen's passing. Always wanted to do an album together. That never happened. Suzanne Summers, also variety show that was, she included Karen and had a really interesting story there where you would think would be nervous to sing with somebody of Karen's, abilities. And she said, the way she looked at it was, she was very privileged to be part of singing with her.
And Randy 1, with AMS, how many locations did you shoot?
We ended up shooting in 18 different locations, and they ranged from Australia to Thailand to Sedona, beautiful Sedona, to Los Angeles, to here in Dallas, New Haven, Connecticut, Nashville. We traveled quite a bit to pull these interviews in.
There was, a group of AMS staffers that would travel with us, usually a small group, but such a great creative team. And for me, coming into this as a newbie in the documentary film world, I'm an elementary music teacher by day, so this was a total learning thing for me. And the entire crew was so welcoming and just educated me on filmmaking 101 as we went.
When you did all these interviews, was there some sort of surprise fact that you learned from these interviews about Karen?
That quest for absolute perfection in all things, how that gets some momentum going that sometimes leads you down roads that don't necessarily go where you need to or want to go. So it was just seeing how that quest played not just from her music, but ultimately into her life, and unfortunately into her death.
Do you know if there was some point in time when she either looked at herself and had some sort of realization, or did somebody say something to her that caused her to all of a sudden kick into anorexia nervosa?
Karen saw herself on a Bob Hope television special, and she remarked to Richard, her brother, that she thought that she looked heavy and that she was going to do something about it. Even Richard has said over the years that even if Karen had been a housewife or a secretary or anything that, out of the limelight, that she still would have had this affliction. And it is, something that I think goes beyond just her being on stage or on television and seeing herself and being scrutinized in that way. It's much deeper.
It's probably about control, right? She
Exactly.
wanted to have control that she didn't have, and then that's one thing she could control. That's a common thing. Well, I guess I'd like to ask you both, what do you want the viewers to take away from this documentary?
I really hope that this can be an introduction to a lot of new fans, and also bring back a lot of memories and happy times listening to the music for those who have been there all along. At different film festivals so far, we're getting a lot of people coming up and saying, the Carpenters were my first concert that I attended when I was a kid, or We've Only Just Begun played at our wedding or at graduation. And so to hear these memories attached to it and to see how special and important Karen and those memories of the Carpenters' music are, is really, I think, a great thing to bring her back into the spotlight.
And Randy, AMS has done a great job with producing this. So what would you like people to come away with?
Anyone, no matter how talented or successful they may appear to be, they're subject to the same feelings, emotions, insecurities, personal struggles we all deal with at one time or another. At the end, when the credits roll, it's never too late to face those, admit it, and be bold and go out and ask for help.
I'm going to wrap this up. Thanks again for the interview, and we look forward to seeing it at Dallas International Film Festival.
Thank you, Patty.
Thank you, Patty.